Did you get your camera working?
I forget. Oh, I had to reset the devices.
Get it off, Bob? Get it off?
I think so, right now.
Go to the bathroom. He's going to the bathroom.
We gotta go through? No, he's right here. Where's the feed? Testing, 1, 2, testing, testing. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. Tonight we have Bob Miller. Tonight we have Bob Miller doing cell phone photography or mobile photography. So hopefully we all learned something. I won't be long. Ray Sopcich has something to say in a moment. So I won't get into that we need a new vice president tonight because we don't have much of a clientele to choose from tonight. And most of the people are doing something for the club already. So I think we do have a board member taking the position. It sounds like Ed Bartella is going to take over Ray Lonsdale's position. I do need somebody to do field trips, though. If somebody wants to step up and orchestrate trying to get field trips set up for the club, that would be great. You don't necessarily have to run all of them, but maybe set somebody up to run each of them. But if we could get something going where we have like a calendar and stuff out there a little ways rather than, hey, we're going somewhere tomorrow night, might be a little more beneficial to people showing up for these things. Ray, you're up.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if I can get up on, I can get a birthday this week, buddy,
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Getting a little old, old.
You gotta-
The only thing I want to do is I end up with the last program of the year.
Right.
Well, I don't need that.
For the mic, you do.
No, I don't need it.
Yeah, you do. It's for the stream.
Oh, all right. I mean, you do new technology. I know. I'll show you how good the new technology is. Both Paul and Tim were at my studio this week to shoot a model that's in there, and both mirrorless cameras wouldn't work with the triggers. And I have no idea why, but I will find out by the end of the week. So, anyways, the only thing I want to talk about is I'm going to end up with the last program. I could bring in a whole bunch of lighting equipment. I could bring in a model. I could bring all kinds of stuff. 90% of you aren't going to be shooting models. Paul did a yeoman's job of talking about light in a way that he showed the different types of lighting patterns you can do. What I want to do is talk about light. As a photographer, every one of us in here have one common thing. You couldn't take a picture without light. It's absolutely. So what are you? Are you a recorder, or are you somebody that wants to control what you put on the card? I happen to be a control freak. But at any rate, what I want to do is work with the group, get ideas from the group, what you know about lighting, and put it together with what I know about lighting, and come up with some common things that you may never have thought about lighting, how to change lighting, how to work lighting to your own type of photography, whether it be a SLR, a medium format, an 8x10 camera, or just your phone. But I want to talk about how light works, what happens when you move lights, what happens when you change the size and the type of source. Why does it change it? What is that? Does it only change one thing, or does it change multiple things? So I want to talk about just basically how light works and what you can do to play around with it. And I don't care if you're shooting a little violet in the field, on the floor, or if you're shooting a group of people, or one model, or a tabletop. I want to work with you so that you can put all of the objects. My goal is to use you guys as a resource. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So put your thinking cap on towards the end of the year, because I'm going to make it work.
Maybe email Ray with any comments or questions you might have regarding that lighting. You can get that through the club. You just search out a specific member, look up Ray Sopcich. His email should be there, and you can send him an email directly through the club's email. So any of those ideas might be there,
AskPhotoRay@MSN.com.
or that. Without further ado, Robert, it's all you.
Thanks.
You bet.
All right, I appreciate you coming tonight. A lot of photographers don't necessarily want to hear about smartphone photography, so part of my presentation I'm going to go into why it's important as a photographer to at least understand where smartphone photography is going, because it is really jumping forward in leaps and bounds. And then I'm going to spend some time covering some third-party apps that I didn't touch on last time I presented. So hopefully that'll ring some bells. But okay. So my opinion about photography is it's an area of interest that causes a photographer to be on the lookout, constant lookout for the wow factor. We're always looking for that unique image, for whether it's to enter in a competition or to share with others and put it in our scrapbook or our album. We're always looking for that good image that we haven't seen before. And in my personal experience, some of those have been the flower shop at Wegmans. You know, so smartphone photography always allows you to have your camera with you to capture that shot. So it would be a real shame to be walking out there and see that perfect shot. And you know if you go home and get your camera and you come back, it's not going to be there. So you just happen to have one in your back pocket, you get to use it, you know. So it's really just another tool in your photography bag. And I say that because a lot of people think that because I do primarily smartphone photography, that I don't know how to use a DSLR or other cameras, or that I'm not a real photographer. So I want to dispel that. All right. What's going on? I gotta figure out how this works. All right. So, what I already mentioned is what I'm going to talk about first is the future of smartphone photography. And some of the things, the trends that are coming along. And then I'm going to talk about, I have one or two camera apps third-party camera apps, because we often hear that, well, with the smartphone, you can't adjust this and you can't adjust that. Well, there are third-party cameras that you can do all of that. And so you don't have to use the camera app that's native to your phone. There are other apps that you can use to do that. And then finally, I'm going to hit 3 or 4 editing programs.
You're talking about editing right on the camera, right on the phone, rather than downloading on your
Correct.
desktop. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and it's interesting. I've gotten such a habit of doing that. You know, I'll take my wife to the doctor's, and I'm sitting out in the waiting room. I'm editing photos. You know, and so I have that with me wherever I go and wherever I have time, rather than have to be glued to my computer and have to use Photoshop. There are some Photoshop apps, mobile apps that you can use on your phone, but yeah. So what the workshop is not about, it's not about your specific smartphone, whether it's Android or iPhone or any of the others, or your tablet. It's not about the rules of photography. It's not about competition, and it's not about or composition, and it's not about entering a competition. And I did capture some screenshots, so I apologize in advance that the font on them is pretty small, but I'll read it to you if need be. All right.
If you want to angle your computer a little bit, so you're not putting your eyeballs in there.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Okay. All right, so this article came out last month, 2 weeks ago. Mobile photography statistics for 2025. Smartphones capture 92.5% of all pictures, leaving just 7.5% to conventional cameras. So if we're talking about photographers, the world out there is using smartphones. That doesn't mean they don't use a regular camera also, but they're predominantly using smartphones. About 1.8 trillion photos are taken annually, translating to 5 billion daily and 246 every second. That's a lot of pictures. And a large part of that is, I think, is an extension of the fact that we no longer have to go somewhere to have them developed. You know, that really limited the number of photos that were out there. You didn't take 100 photos of a session, you took 10 because you knew you were going to have to go and get them developed or develop them yourself. So, the most common types of photos taken are, get this, selfies. I'm not big on selfies, but obviously the people in the smartphone world are. I don't see too many people with a DSLR taking a selfie, so it's really the phone world. 58%, 52% are pets, and 43% are scenery. So common places where photos are taken are graduations, weddings, vacations, and sporting events. And people generally when they take pictures at one of those events, they take in a neighborhood of 23 pictures. I don't know how they gather these statistics, but it's what they had. So a typical user takes about 22 It didn't get into the detail whether that's because I store a lot of photos on my phone, but I have most of them loaded up onto the iCloud. And that allows me, because now I only have a thumbprint of the photo on my phone, it's not taking up as much space. So I thought this was fascinating. More photos were taken in the last 2 years than in the entire history of photography before that. That's mind-boggling. I mean, photography has been around since 1850. Yeah, so, AI is now an integral part of smartphone photography. In some cases, it's integrated into your cameras. It's integrated into the third-party apps. So the newest version of Photoshop has AI in it. So, you know. And the other thing about smartphone photography has many easy-to-use functions right at your fingertip. So if I want to do blast mode, I can blast photography. So if I do want to do a panorama, I can do that. If I want to do a video, it's just a finger touch away. You know, so all of these features or functions are readily available to you on your smartphone. And I'd be hard-pressed if I wanted to do a panorama with my DSLR. I've done them before. I could probably get there again, and then you have to do some editing afterwards to stitch them together, correct? Yeah. So. As of 2021, it is estimated that there are more than 3.8 billion active smartphone users worldwide, and most use their phones to take their photos. And that's probably also true while they're driving their car, which probably shouldn't be the case either. People take more photos of themselves than their friends and family. Estimated 93 million selfies a day. And then women tend to take more photos than men. And the younger generation take more photos than the older generation. And the primary purpose they're taking the photos is to share them. There are so many ways now, social media, to share photos. So you look around at our club and you see the age, I don't know that I've ever seen a young person in here. You know, are we not offering them what they want, the ability to come in and share photos? Is that not what they want? Or are they too busy out doing something else? Pardon me?
We have two.
We have two?
We have two.
Great.
They're not here this evening.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably have this down pat.
No doubt.
And when you talk about women using them, I should be in Florida. Although the condo isn't fixed, that's why I'm here. All you got to do is walk down the beach at Siesta Key, and you'll see constantly girls taking pictures of themselves, selfies. They don't want anything else. If I walk down the beach with a 300mm lens on my camera and offer to take a picture, they say, no thanks, we need a selfie. Because they want to post it as a selfie. That's the big thing. And they want it to look like a picture from the phone and not a picture from the studio. If I do studio shots of somebody, they say it's very nice, but make it look like a selfie. So, you know, and that's just the current trend. That's what they use. They use social media and trade them back and forth, and it's got to be a selfie.
Yeah.
It's the way it is.
And this isn't the first photo club I've been involved with, and all of them seem to be the same way. It's an older generation, and you get into the competition and you get to other things that I think the younger generation just isn't interested in.
Well,
So,
What about the cost, though? I mean, a DSLR is much more expensive than their smartphone, which they're using for a lot of things. So maybe that's part of what's barring them from, you know, going to a DSLR.
I don't know. If I got the phone I wanted to get right now, the iPhone, with the memory that I want, it's $1,600. I paid $500 for my DSLR.
Well, I think you got, your numbers significantly went up, right?
Yeah.
That's all the younger people that are taking those photos. Is it really, if you go back to the numbers of photographers that were before cell phones really came around, is it really that much smaller of a group of younger, or is it just proportionate to the fact that now everybody has a cell phone and can take photos? So now a smaller.
I can give you my slanted view. I started in photography in 1959 with my first SLR. When you started in 1959 with an SLR, there was nothing like program mode, AV, TV, or whatever it may be. And if you wanted pictures, you had to learn photography in order to do pictures. As things moved along and the EOS versions came out, where you had TV, AV, program modes and that, you ended up with more photographers because of the ease of them to take a picture than it did to us. Each step went along, went from there to smartphones to whatever it is, and it's become so easy to pull that thing out of your pocket, aim it at something and take a photograph, and get a good quality photograph because the cameras have gotten to the point that it is. But what it did is eliminated everyone from going in and learning the basics of photography and the art of photography to get to where they are now. If that makes any sense to anybody.
Right, but I guess my point was that, like, per capita, you know, how many people use an SLR, not per how many pictures are taken.
I have a graph here. I'll show you a little bit, but it was back in 2015. I imagine it's only moved on from there. I couldn't find a more recent one, but that'll answer some of your question. So, and the other thing is, my best friend was a professional photographer. He's retired now, but you know, he's even noticed it is places that used to hire a professional photographer, for instance, for a wedding. They just have people email them their photos.
They don't do that anymore. I mean, I have 3 friends with commercial photography studios that they used to do annual reports for Vogue, for for Kodak, for all kinds of places. They don't do it anymore because they get somebody in-house
Yep.
with their camera to do the stuff for the annual report. The only shots that are still left for these people in the corporation that used to do annual reports is the chief executive officer or whoever. They don't want someone taking a picture of them with a cell phone. They want a photographer. That's the only ones that end up in the annual report. So most of those guys have gone to weddings and other type of events because that's where,
Yeah, yeah.
it's at.
It's all
The studio days
shifting.
are gone.
And as cell phone photos keep getting better and better and better, that's going to get more significant as we go on. You know, so
I would just, you know, what do you mean by better? In other words, the quality or the number of pixels, that's one thing. I think if people aren't taught or don't recognize or accept lower quality because they're just looking at someone's face, you know.
It's a
they're-
recording
they're-
device.
Right, they're not looking at, you know, what kind of chiseling are you doing, what kind of shadows, or it's just, no, it's just me looking up and.
We're also viewing it on a 4-inch screen or a 5-inch screen versus a
versus a 16 by 20 print.
Yeah.
The other thing
You
is
know.
too, there's a lot of AI that go, even though you don't think you're using AI, there's a lot of AI in the cell phone pictures that will do all that, you know.
Well,
shape
what
the
the,
light.
Yeah.
well, one of the biggest saviors of the cell phone, as far as I'm concerned, other than ease and usability, and you can carry it on the beach in your back pocket, or you carry it anywhere you want and get a picture, is the event of continuous light sources, whether it be LEDs or whatever it is, because you can record that with a cell phone. If you're talking to somebody with a cell phone trying to plug in the strobes, I want to know how the hell they do it, because it can't be done. So, you know, the continuous light source is the basic fundamental of any type of cell phone or whatever it may be, because you're recording what the light is and changing it with a continuous source, whether it be the sun or the light source. When you start talking strobes, it's a whole different ballgame.
But that's the thing though, too, with how good cameras are now at capturing the low light, do you need a strobe?
Well, that's what I said. But even if you do, if you want to get into where Paul talks chiseling with light and shadow, you're going to be using continuous light source of some sort, because you have to boost one side to lower the other side in order to make a shadow. And unless God gave it to you when you're out there, you're going to have to work with it. And you can do it with continuous light sources and work with a cell phone. I've seen people work with a cell phone, continuous light source, get some wonderful results.
yeah, again, and I'm not sure it's an answer to this, but if I'm a cell phone photographer, a lot of that information is available to me on YouTube. Learning for my DSLR, my Canon, also applied to my cell phone. So, you know, you still work with the rule of thirds, and you work with, negative space and all of the other stuff as well. Increases exponentially. Bigger file size, better resolution, which means that the role of professional photographers is getting more specific, hence narrowing down. Again, there's very limited places where professional photographers, professional sport events, I think, is still pretty locked up. Although I'll guarantee you there's more pictures coming out of that stadium than what the professional photographers are taking. They just, where are they going? So, all right. This gets a little smaller. Smartphone weaknesses and future. One of the complaints that we hear frequently about smartphones is that they tell you not to use the in-phone flash. If you go to any training, they tell you never to use the in-phone flash. You can use an external flash, but you probably don't need it. So low light performance is often grainy with unwanted noise, often marginally low light photos. Future, they're coming out with high sensitivity sensors. Sharper, clearer, low-light photos, capturing breathtaking nighttime cityscapes or beautiful lit indoor portraits with impeccable clarity. Flash or external lighting sources may become less essential. And then in doing the research for this, they talked about, and I couldn't find much information out, they come out with a periscope lens now. I'm not sure what that means, but they said it has one tremendous zoom distance on it. How you hooked it up, excuse me, how you hooked it up to your phone and how you use it, I don't know, but I'm going to be on the lookout for periscope lenses. All right, here's a graph I wanted to show you. Did I? Hold on. Oh. Yeah. Okay, this is, right here is 2015. So that's 9 years ago. And you see here the green is compact digital, the red is mirrorless. The green is, excuse me, is DSLR, the blue is compact digital. So it looked like mirrorless started in about 2011. It hasn't really grown much, it's gone up. But if you take this row up and you come over here and look at it, it goes up and up and up and up and up and up. That's your smartphone cameras. So, and the phone manufacturers are quite aware that in order for them to sell phones, they have to sell cameras. In order for them to sell cameras, their camera has to get better every year. So every year, I know Apple, it's October, September, October, comes out with all their new, they save them up. You know, so once a year you get all these new features for your phone. All right, 3 areas to learn about when we're learning about photography is the equipment. And I have to say, the young people I've talked to, I ask them if they picked up a book or how they learned to take pictures with their phone camera. They just pick it up and it's intuitive to them. So they don't take a lot of classes or so on. And then to learn your accessories and how your external light source hooks up and so on and so forth. So the second area is photo composition. And that's what I was talking about earlier. This applies whether you're using a smartphone or a regular camera. Rule of thirds, leading lines, lighting, subject focus, negative space, and on and on and on. All those rules apply regardless of what camera you use. If you're using, you know, a Polaroid, it essentially amounts to the same thing. Oh, wait a minute, let me go back. So this is what I'm hoping to cover in a little bit here, is the third-party apps. I've touched on these in a previous session, so this time I picked some new ones. Inkwork, Skylab, Picasso, Reflect, and Color Splash. Again, I think without exception, when you talk about third-party apps in most smartphone worlds, it's for a single or very narrow purpose. So, for instance, Inkworks turns your photograph into a drawing of ink, whatever color you want it to be. Picasso turns it into a painting, and that's where they come up with this in editing photos in a mobile world. They talk about app stacking. So I'm going to do that with this app, and then I'm going to go to this app and do this. So it's not you're not doing everything in one source. Now that's not necessarily true if there are some apps out there that have complete editing capability. Snapseed is one of them, and that actually is free, and everybody should have that on their phone. It has quite a tremendous capability. So, all right. So regarding third-party apps, the pros of using third-party apps is, and I say that only because there are a number of other photo editing softwares out there, with Photoshop and On1 and Nik, and you go on. There's a lot of different software out there, but when it comes to being loaded on your phone, it's just mind-boggling how many there are that you can use. So nowadays, to run across somebody that's using the same third-party app as you is unusual. So the pros of third-party apps is there's a large variety and it's continually growing. They're easy to access and can access from anywhere. Edit photos anytime. So instead of enjoying your time on the beach, you're sitting there editing your photos, So upgraded regularly, always adding new features and functions, which is a good and a bad thing because the fact that it's updated regularly, you have to go back in and use it regularly so you stay current with how it works. Generally easy to use, they're intuitive, and usually have a limited purpose. The cons: large variety, too many to sort through. You could just search on one thing, search on photo frames, and the number of apps that come up will just blow your mind away. The number of apps that actually will do photo frames for you. So, and then you start sorting through based on criteria. I'll show you what criteria I generally use, but new ones added daily, always need to watch for new, better apps, constant research. They're easy to access, accessible from anywhere, can get you distracted from what you're doing or who you are with. They're upgraded regularly, needs to be constantly relearned. Often a single individual developer, and therefore they get a full-time job, they may decide not to do it, and next thing you know, their app is gone. Matter of fact, I had a couple apps I was looking at for tonight. I used to use pretty regularly. Obviously, I haven't used them recently. I went in, they're not there anymore. So you don't know if they've changed the name for it and it's become a different app, or they incorporated it into a different app. And then pricing. There are still some on there, Snapseed for one, that are free. A lot of them start off free, and you really have to read the details. It's free for 30 days, but then they start charging you. Others have a whole list of price menu, and I'll show you an example of it, that, depending on what you want to get. And the price keeps going up and up and up. It's not it was rare for me to see a third-party app 5 years ago that was over $5. Nowadays, I'm seeing them all $29, $39, $49 and up. So, several of them, just because you got in free or bought it at the lower rate doesn't mean that they aren't coming back and charging you to come to the upgraded one. So.
Bob, are these monthly or just a one-time?
They're all over the place. Some of them are one time, some of them are annually, some of them are monthly, some have 4 different monthly charges in there, and I can't differentiate between what the 4 different, so you almost have to go to their website and figure out their pricing. Yeah, so.
Just remember, nothing is free. You're trading something for, whether they're, they might be using your photos for AI, or we don't know. Companies don't give away stuff.
So far, I will continue to say Snapseed is free. It continues to be free, but.
Free in that you don't pay money, but
right.
You maybe either through ads or they got to be making money somehow. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't do it for free.
So what you should look for when you're shopping for a third-party app is the initial cost. All of them in very little print under the get it button will say in-app purchases, in-app purchases. So then you want to find out what those in-app purchases are. You may be able to do everything you want with your photo, but you can't download it or save it or print it until you get the next higher version. So who cares if you can edit it, so. I personally try to avoid subscriptions. I think I might have 2. Look at the ratings and reviews. How recently it was updated because of how quickly things are changing. Is the app staying current where photography is going? It used to be that some developers did Apple, some developers did Android. More and more developers are developing it so they do all venues. So, and then I also tend to look at, so I'll find the iPhone users in this group or in my veterans group and find out what they're using. So as we learn it, we can share with each other. It really helps if you're using the same apps to help learn them. All right, so again, this is smaller, but and you can ignore this. It's just because it's all the same with most of them. It gives you a rating on 2.1 thousand ratings. It got an average of 4.6 stars. It's over 4 years old. They have them broke down by categories. When the App Store, when you buy something, you buy it out of a particular category. The category for this is photos and video. It was number 3 in that category. And then the latest update was 5 months ago, so they're updating it, seems like, pretty regularly. It tells you it works on this phone, so if you're searching the App Store from your phone, it'll let you know if it works on this phone or not. Or it'll tell you, if you click down on it, it'll tell you what else it works with. And then this is the one. This is what I tell you. Sometimes it's so confusing for me, I'm not sure what it's telling me. So a weekly VIP subscription is $4.99. A weekly VIP flash sale is $4.99. A weekly VIP flash sale is, so what's the difference? A monthly VIP flash sale for 1 month is $7.99. Unlock high resolution is $5.99. So if I'm starting to add all of these up and I have to have all of them to edit photos, it's going to be pretty pricey. So by the way, this is, when you get here, this is a drop-down menu, so you have to hit the arrow off to the side and it'll drop down and show you all the prices. All right, I'm an app junkie. I'll show you a little bit of it later when I bring my phone up, but this is a app that I downloaded that every day comes out with a list of 7 or 8 free apps. And when you read it, I downloaded a couple just recently, $39.99, and it's free for lifetime if you get it today. Okay, I may never use it, but I'm going to get it today, so I don't have to pay $39.99 a month from now. So, so there are others that will say free for a year, and then you have to start paying. So you want to make sure you read those, but it'll tune you into some pretty good free apps. All right, so I just wanted to mention the third-party apps I cover may not be available for your specific model or version of your smartphone. It's just too hard to research them all to make sure it works on all phones. But so I'm demonstrating the types of things that are generally available. You need to research and find if this app works on your device and is within your budget, or find a similar app for your device if you want to do this on your phone. How are we time-wise?
It's quite big.
You want to take a break now, and then I'll come back, because I'm going to start going into, well, let me get through this, and when I change over to my phone, we'll do this. So, so I'm going to talk about cameras. The one I'm going to talk about is Pro Camera 8. I have about 10 different cameras on my phone. And to tell you the truth, for most of my photography, unless I'm trying to do something special, I use the in-camera app for the in-phone app that I do. I don't use a third-party app. But if I'm trying to do something specific, then I'll go to some of these. And then as far as the editing apps, I kind of already mentioned this. InkWork. This is recent. This is off the site today, $5.99. So that's, as far as I know now, it's lifetime for $5.99. If it goes up, you should still be entitled to it. Skylab, because I've already purchased, I couldn't find a price for this, and I couldn't find it on the web. Picasso. And I think that had an annual fee too, but I didn't put it down. This is a painting app, so you can convert your photos into paintings. Reflect. So if you have a photo with a foreground that's not very interesting, you can actually put water in there and run it up as high and far and make it as wrinkly as you want. And then Color Splash, where you take a photo and you turn it black and white, and then you color back in the areas you want to stay colored. That's what I hope to cover today. And that was $1.99, so that's not bad. All right, so now I want to bring up my phone. So let's take a break now, and then I'll start going over some of these.
I will let you know what it does happen.
Probably want to kill you. Probably want to turn off the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were on our way to Barnes Dinner. I got about halfway down the road, and I turned, and the car went straight ahead. We're not coming.
Oh, you sure you bought it for me?
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
And
Don't forget if you go to the restroom.
Huh?
If you go to the restroom, you don't want to take that off. Just
Oh, okay, yeah.
jump in there and say,
No,
that first.
no, I love having a group participate. It makes it much more interesting because then I'm opinionated, so I hear another side. You know, it's great to hear.
Yeah, no, I was just, I was thinking, how much stuff is really free.
Yeah,
You don't pay money, but you're trading something for something.
yeah,
Like I said, either they're using your photos for AI training,
Yep.
or I noticed one of the apps you put up there was from Shenzhen, which is China.
yeah,
Who knows what they're doing with
yeah, exactly. Yep.
What I do is figure out what they would like a barricaded, most people don't. They shoot with their, somebody on the inside. I don't, you'll see, I don't exactly what they. But too many times, we still call it something. This is photo of this company. We take what's there and edit it into our liking and sometimes
For me, this is invaluable for those places you're on vacation and you can't take a tripod, and you're in a situation where,
that's what I talk to Tim about all the time.
I mean, the thing that comes right to my mind is I was taking a night cruise down a river that split a city, and you had all these buildings lit up and whatnot, whether it was Parliament or this or that and everything. And, A, you can't have a tripod on the boat because you're just sitting there with your wife. And B, you take a picture of this stuff, even if you set your ISO at, 25 or 50,000, it's just not going to look the same. Whereas this, you whip it out, it's like, oh yeah, there you go, got this. So I used to poo-poo it, and I used to have my nose up in the air, and now I'm looking, it's like, for all those times,
My wife, my sister, and my father, we went to this thing down at Buff State. Buff State now has a planetarium there.
Oh, okay.
And they had a show, it was called, I think it was like Miss America, I think was the name of the show. But it was all these moving light sources and music, and it was really pretty nice. When you went in, they said, no cameras. I said, what about my phone? Oh, your phone's fine.
Yeah. Well, right, and I've had that problem. It's, again, same trip. I set up a tripod. I'm going to take a picture of a bridge that's beautifully lit at night from the shore. And please come up and says, unless you have a a certificate from the government. This is a, a picture that we sell, so you can't take it. I'm like, A, I didn't see the picture. I mean, I didn't see it in any of the gift shops, but it's like, I promise you, I'm not going to sell it. I'm just an amateur. Well, you got the big expensive camera, so we can't trust you. Like, well, you get, and of course, and you're doing this through a different language as well, so you're not exactly going to have an extended conversation in Bulgarian or whatnot. But it's just whereas as soon as he walked away, picked up my phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it has.
And I've had the other side of the situation. I got picked. You had to apply for and send a portfolio in to Florida State Fair to be a photographer there, and they picked like 50 photographers for the whole week and 10 days, I think.
Okay.
And then you could get in anytime, day or night, anytime you wanted to go there, you could go there, but you had to take photos and you had to send them. I think you had to send them 20 photos.
Okay.
Was the cost for you. So I sent my portfolio in. I got picked. I went to get my badge. She said, for the record, we like to write what camera you're probably going to use. I said, my iPhone. Are you a photographer? I said, yeah. And you use an iPhone? So she said, well, could you carry a regular camera with you so people think you're a photographer?
Yeah, it's funny, but
My next door neighbor down there, his son, I lived right outside Tampa. His son was an attorney in Tampa, and he kept telling his son how I kept winning all these awards at all these photo shows and how good my photos were. So he called me and he said, I'm putting together a leadership team to put a fundraiser together, and we'll probably have about 200 people there. And my dad says, you're a really good photographer. Could you photograph the event? I said, I can, but I'm going to tell you, if I do it, I'm going to do it with, because I had two iPhones. I had a 7 and a 12. I kept my own. I'm going to do it with my iPhones. Oh, okay. Next day he called me back. He said, the board decided they wanted to go with a professional photographer. Yeah.
I mean, what I in a way would love to see is somebody shooting an entire wedding. Not the people submitting pictures, friends of the bride, friends of the groom, but a true professional sitting there saying, yeah, all I have is my iPhone.
There was a YouTube video of that, and I remember, I wish I remember the photographer's name. He's a professional, really renowned professional photographer. And he asked these people, can I photograph your wedding with my smartphone? He says, I'll have my other photographers here taking photos as well, just in case, so it won't, but I want to take it with my phone to see how they turn out. And he had a couple comments that could have been better, but for the most part, he said it worked. Yeah, it worked.
Well, again, especially in a low lighting situation where, if you got a high ceiling, where are you going to bounce a flash?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Whereas, at least I have found that in very low light situations, again, walking around a city that you're on vacation, the neon lights or this or that or whatnot, and you don't want to be singled out by carrying, an expensive camera and your tripod on your shoulder, it's like, just don't want to get.
But I mean, you sit in here and watch these critiques all the time. Unless you know the photographer, like people getting to know me know that I generally, most of mine are with my iPhone. Unless you know the photographer, you have no idea whether it's taken with a mirrorless, a DSLR, no idea. Or you might be able to tell it's from a drone because it's higher up, but even those photos turn out really nice.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and when I see some of the great ones, it's like, you know, how many times do you say, if I was just a little taller? I'm not talking 400 feet, but
Yeah.
you know, if I could just have a shot from 10 feet, you know, one story up rather than from the sidewalk.
And I do that a lot when I go out photographing, especially like street photography I like doing. I have a monopod and it extends to, I think, 7 feet. So I can hold it up. So it's about 10 feet up there. And the other thing is, I can get down on my knees, but I have a hell of a time getting back up. So I can take a low shot too, you know, put it right down on the ground and take a shot too. So.
And that's what made me buy my mirrorless, is the ability to, I never had a rear viewfinder that you could flip out and change the angle. And it's the same thing, right? I'll hold the camera up and flip it down so I can see that you know, and down low as well, because once you're down, you're down.
The thing you have to have, well, I guess you could have a wire run it too, but I have a Bluetooth remote control, so when it's on the end of the pole up there, I can still take a picture. You know, so.
And my Canon works off an app on the phone as well.
Okay, yeah.
So I could even set it on a tripod, walk away, and fire it from my phone.
Actually, I don't have it on. I have an Apple Watch. I could take it from there as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but yeah, I probably could, right? It's a very different environment.
Yep. Yep.
I always use cameras, and I love to teach my kids. Why would I want to?
Well, yeah, I've been teaching my grandkids to whittle. That's the newest hobby I've taken up is whittling.
You ready, sir?
Yes.
Let me show you the one you want to pick.
Oh, you can't pick.
Oh, I can't pick?
You got tickets.
This is the one you want to pick.
Okay, 50-50, 950 tonight. Bob's gonna pick the number.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. No?
Is that one? I think that's one.
Is that one? Thank you, sir. Last three, 998.
How about 00?
How about I donate that to the club?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
I couldn't do that again if I had to.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right. Hopefully this will go well. I was trying it earlier and it was dropping in and out on me. So hopefully we can get past that. But this first one I want to talk about is ink work. So I'm going to take the picture of the airplane to start with. I'll pick that one.
We started, but we might have sat there idle too long.
Huh.
You might want to restart your power reshare. You might want to restart that.
Well, it's right here because it's showing up here.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it might have sat there idle too long so that your computer's not picking it up anymore. You may want to stop at a QuickTime Player and then restart it. I would shut QuickTime all the way down.
You would?
QuickTime? QuickTime Player, quit it, and then go restart it. Okay, there you go. You just stop apps there. Yeah, I know that guy.
Okay. Hopefully I don't have to do that between each and every shot. That'll be terrible. All right, so this took this airplane and turned it into black and white ink. So you see the buttons at the bottom. I'll take the second one in first. And what happens is, it's not working. I don't know if you can see, mine changes colors. I can change the color on it, so, and it's not going through.
You want me to take a look at it? Bob?
Sure.
Yeah, where's your QuickTime?
Where is it? It's
Okay.
right there.
So how do you,
New movie recording.
I know that guy too.
And then right next to the red dot, that's, you should be able to pick up 12 there, right there. All right, so now it's blue.
Yes, yeah, you try changing something.
Okay, I'll change to green. Oh, it's working now. Okay.
Tech support guy, it's all right. I didn't do anything different than Bob did, it just.
All right, so I'm gonna be Air Force. I'm gonna stick with the blue. All right. Now, if I go back to this fountain pen in the corner there, now I can pick any one of these categories. So you see up the top where it says comic style. So all of these C's are what's considered comic style. I don't know what makes them comic, but so there's so many varieties, and I'm not going to touch on every one of them, but I'll go through and show you. So the next one is thin style. The next one is abstract style, bold style, wash style, graphic style, loose style, hatch style, and then minimal style. Oh, wait a minute, there's scribble style. It keeps going. Anyways, you can see it keeps going. We don't need, but so you pick the style you want, and then you can go through each category within that style. So you can get some that are fairly blank, like that one. You could actually turn that into, print that out and have it for a coloring sheet for your grandkids. So you could do that. The other thing is, if you want to change the backdrop, that white dot there, so I can, in fact, change the backdrop to gray, or beige. So again, once you get it, and I don't remember what was $5.99. I don't remember what it was anyways, but it really is pretty intuitive. It's simple to figure out. And it's a fun app to have, especially if you have grandkids that want to color things, you know. So I had another one I did. So again, and let's change this to there. So again, there's quite a bit of variety there that you can work with photos and do different things with them. So that's InkWork. Now, give me a second. I'm going to back up for just a minute. I want to show you a couple other things. I jumped into the apps real quickly. This is apps gone free. See, up there it says app advice. So if I go there and I go down through here, so first one, it doesn't matter what it is, they're all different categories. MinuteWise AI Note Taker, $99.99. But if you look down here and select a lifetime 0 version for free. So you can get this for free for today. This one's $39.99. This one's $24.99. $2.99. So they're all over the place. But and generally, this one's for videos. I'm gonna. What am I going to do here? Nope, I'm not. No, there's a place on here, I can't find it right now, where I can look at the past several days, but most of them, after the day's gone, you can't get them anymore. So I wanted to show you that yesterday there was a photo one, Thursday there was a photo one, so there are quite a few photo ones. And I wanted to show you this because I say I'm an app junkie. All right, that's page 1, that's page 2. So this isn't something I'm necessarily proud of, but it's an addiction. And then if I look at photo edit, this is folder number 1. All right, so then I can go through there and see all of the apps that I have for photo. And there was, that's Photoshop and Lightroom. All right, so that's one folder. Now, here's another folder, Photo Editor 2, and the same thing. And then I have one here for photo painting, for all the apps that paint. And then I have one for, this is for Photo Magazine. Mobiography is, I think it's $24 a year. It's one of the few smartphone magazines I found, and it really is, it's really a pretty good magazine. And then I've taken a couple of IP courses, photography courses, and that's in there too. So yeah, I am an app addict in any event. So the next one I wanted to touch on was Skylab. All right, so I'm going to pick this one here. All right, so once you've done that, you got it where you want it, now you can pick the sky you want. So that the other sky was kind of dreary. I can go through here and change my skies. Or if I want a darker sky, I can go down here and get a darker sky. There's a button down here for elements. So if I want to put a tree out there, I can put a tree out there. Or if I want to put a man out there, I can put a man or a woman, and you can move you can move it, you can resize it. It comes with a shadow. So yeah. All right, so again, really pretty intuitive. That was that one.
Are those your skies, or are they commercially in the?
Their skies, they're in their program, yeah. I do have a bunch of my own that I tend to.
I think you launched Siri. Must have said something that I thought you were saying Siri.
Okay. All right, so this next one I wanted, this is terrible the way this is. I really apologize. All right, here we go. So,
You don't want to sit there.
pardon me?
You don't want to sit there blocking the screen.
You want me to bring the?
I can't hear that.
To the side?
Say what?
You were blocking the screen sitting.
Oh,
I didn't know if you were trying to figure out.
Fanning your forehead.
Really?
all right. Let me do load from photos. Those are some of the pictures I took at that Miss America one in the planetarium at Buff State. They said you couldn't use a camera. So I said, what about my smartphone? Oh, that's fine. So I got those color pictures that. All right, I'm just going to pick some flowers. That'll be good. You'll get the idea. So you have this photo. This did come from Wegmans, by the way.
What app is this?
Huh?
What app is this?
This is Picasso. So now I can start going through the various varieties and changing it to a painting. Now, I can go and go and go and go. There are so many different styles. And then there's the...
Let me try shutting down your QuickTime.
Okay. All right, so this is the stylized ones. Then you can go over to the edit button, and it does that, and then you can pick down here artistic, and it has, when it changes here, you'll see it has oh geez.
Did we lose it again?
It's not changing.
Probably need to, I think, it looked like Siri came up, and then it crashed, and it hasn't been acting normal since, so let's start off again.
Player location check.
It's in the Finder, so maybe you need to click, back in the app, right there.
Try moving it now. No? Okay. Who's that funny looking guy again?
Okay.
So working now?
Yep. All right, so you can see down the bottom here where it says oil. If you want to change it to oil painting, you can pick one of these. Or you can go over to watercolor, should be here too. All right, so watercolor, if I'd rather have that, I can change to it. Or I can go over here. You can see all the options you have here. Cartoon. There's several choices there.
Can you finesse it, like if you want to like make the lines darker and like say cartoon or? What the-
You can, so you can.
Oh,
I wonder if something with that app that just
I think it's the cord.
Was that error said?
The operation could not be completed.
I think it just doesn't like that app, I think.
Well, it's done it with all the apps, I think.
Well, I noticed every time you moved the slider, it was,
Oh,
that's when it quit on you. Guys getting sick of seeing me yet?
all right. So I'm not going to try to change it right now because of the problem we're having. But you can erase parts of it. You can use a brush. You can do it automatic with Magic. You can do the colors, mask, adjust. So do a vignette. You can put a signature on it. So there are a lot of things you can edit on this program that really makes it nice if you want to convert it to a painting. I had artist down in Florida that used to have this, and she'd take a picture of what she wanted to draw. Then she'd turn it into the drawing so she could see what it looked like, and then she'd virtually paint what she saw on here. So, all right, so that's that one.
What was it? Was that double trouble?
That was B-E-C-A-S-S-O, Picasso. All right. So the next one is reflect. All right, I'll try this one and see what we do. So, all right, so there's the water. Now I can, in fact, with my finger, I can move this down or up so I can put the water there. I can change whether it's really wrinkly or smooth. I can add fog to it. Oh. Yeah. So there are a number of options on here that I thought I had that on here. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, this is one I want to. All right, so there, and so again with the water, and I can move it up and down. This is, I don't know if anybody's ever been to Panama Rocks. This is Panama Rocks, so if you wanted to add water to that scene, you could put as much as you wanted, so. Anyway, that's reflection. And then color splash. I enjoy doing these. So you saw the snake was blue, so it turned the whole thing to black and white now. Now all I have to do is I run my finger on there and I can bring the blue back. So I'm not painting the background, I'm only painting the snake. I'm not being as precise as I normally would be, but so that's how you make a color pop. Often I'll do this if I got something I want people to see and it's in a crowded environment, there's a lot of other distracting stuff. I'll turn everything else black and white and color what I want them to see. So, well, I can't, oh, wait a minute. No. I had one where I had a lot of the other photos in there. I was going to show you, but I can't. This is Snapseed, by the way. This photo here, I'm still in Inkwork, so it turned it to black and white. But it's my wife standing behind a gridded gate, and then I took a picture of it without her behind it. And then I was able to color out several of the squares, so it shows you the entryway behind it, and she looks like she's woven into the gate. Just, I was playing around with it, so.
So Bob, you're saying you layered that in the Snapseed?
That was done in Snapseed, where it has dual exposure in Snapseed. So you bring in 2 photos, one, the photo without her in the picture and the photo with her in the picture, and you lay them on top of each other and color out the ones. So yeah.
Excuse my ignorance, you will, to have any of these apps run, you have to have internet access, is that correct?
No.
If you're in the middle of a field or whatnot, even though you had the app on your phone?
Well, if you're downloading it from iCloud, you have to have internet access to download it. But once it's on your phone regular, you don't have to have internet access to then edit
So if
it.
you're on a plane where they say, you know, go to plane mode, you could still...
Yep. All right, so these are some of the other photos. This is Picasso. Some of the photos I've taken in Picasso and changed them over. And this is the ColourPop one. Okay. And then Inkworks. I have quite a few of them in here, but okay. And then Reflect. Here's some of the ones I had in Reflect with the fog. That was the original. That was an original. Oh. That's with the Reflect. That was in a cave. Anyway. And I showed people this one last time, but this is one I do a lot, this Mirrorly, where you take a photo and you can cut it in as many sections as you want to reproduce it. it really comes up with some pretty stunning ones. Oh. All right, that's all, folks. Thanks for bearing with me. That, yeah, that,
Having that tether helped.
yeah.
Say anything negative, we got.